Hi, how's it going, Mr. Hammond?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. My name's Issa Iturri with Gartner for CIOs. I'm glad to hear you're doing well today.
Thanks. Yeah, I am doing well.
Um, so I see you're over with the American group now and that you had recently transferred hands over to them. And I was just kind of curious. I just had an initial question, just kind of like looking over your guys' company and a little bit about what you guys do. I see you guys are in the industrials transportative and automation industry, selling like equipment, but also you guys are over in the pharmaceutical side, having pharmacies at some of your guys' Speed Mart locations, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. So we have the American Lubricants, American Pharmacies, and the Speed Mart.
Yeah, and I was just curious how those Speed Marts pharmacies kind of tied in and how you guys kind of relay information in the sense of, since you guys have such different industries and such a wide portfolio of products you guys are selling.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, I think these three sectors are more on their own and not as unified as they could be. And I don't know how much we do try to relate them just because they are such different industries. We haven't really
Yeah.
seen the need for that.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to kind of jump over to my next slide here. Initially, just kind of hearing your guys' concern with since they are so separate, and I'm sure that does come at a cost, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And just since you guys have such different entities and so many different problems, kind of translating that over as you were kind of touching on a little bit. I was just curious over here at Gartner, we do utilize something called our cost optimization tool and our IT budget tool, which essentially compares IT key metrics against other organizations. And essentially, with this service, you have access to vendor contract review services, and then which typically result in about 15 to 20% cost savings as your contracts are reviewed. And since you would have a few different types of contracts, given you are such a wide, like you have such a wide range of excuse me, of scope of products. I was just curious if you guys would be interested in hearing a little bit about more what we do over here at Gartner in terms of cost savings and.
Sure. Yeah. I'm willing to hear more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So some of our main, let's get through this. So our cost optimization essentially comes down to two things. So we have our IT budget tool, which you can see here on the left. It's mainly identifying problems within the company in terms of like, and how we can improve delivering value for your money, and also drive value and performance. Review service, our
Sorry, it seems like
options that you
you're
guys could save.
actually cutting out. Would you mind repeating that the last part that you said?
Yeah, for sure. Our contract review service just kind of goes through and goes through some of your guys' current contracts and pinpoints areas that Gartner could go in or Gartner or essentially another source could go in and help you guys save some money on some of the current contracts you guys are in. And I'm assuming you guys are in a few different types of contracts, just given you guys have such a wide variety of entities, given like the lubricants and the pharmacies and the speed marts.
Yeah. So right now it is just basically the three divisions, and then those three divisions have their own, set of contracts and set of like locations and stuff like that. I guess the question I have is I don't know if I see the benefit in necessarily combining all three of those entities. So
Well, for us here at Gartner, it's not even really about the benefit. It's more what we have to offer for you guys as products, because essentially what we'd be doing is they wouldn't be combining them. We'd be saving you money in each individual entity. So instead of combining them all together into one and reviewing the contracts holistically, it'd be more on, we'd go review the contracts and lubricants and pharmacies and then the speed marts. So in turn, we'd be saving you money in each entity, which overall would in turn
got it.
save you money over the top. But yeah. And then I know I was just had another quick question for you. Do you have anyone that like typically do you go to for advice, or how does that work in terms of, because I know you being CIO is a tough job, and obviously maybe some of your fellow employees haven't worked with the company for quite as long as you have.
Yeah. So I do really talk to my team, and I am in close contact with the CFO
Mhm.
and the CEO, but
How long have they been working there for a while? Because I know you guys do have a family-owned company, but what's their role in the company? Given it is family-owned, are they pretty involved, or is the CEO kind of MIA, should I say, for lack of a better term?
yeah, so I am the newest one on the team, and then the CFO has been there since 1972, and as well as our president. So they have been there for a while, and I think they've seen a lot of how the company works.
Do you work in close contact with them, or how does that work in terms of like getting deals and moving forward? Would you be in charge of something like if Gartner were to take place in your guys' company? Would that be a decision that you would sign off on, or would that be more of a decision for the CFO or the president?
Yeah, so ultimately, I like to make all big transitions or partnerships or purchases. I do like to have those go through the rest of like the administrative team before I sign off of it on it. But ultimately, since this is within my scope, I would be the proponent of who pushes that to my team.
Yeah, for sure. You've heard a little bit about our products. Would you be interested in setting up a meeting with that president and the CFO to kind of further? I can pass you guys on to pricing and packing, and they can kind of assess what the cost would look like for your guys' company, given you were saying that you typically make those decisions with the rest of your team.
Sure. And these are really busy individuals. So I think that I want to make sure everyone's time is being maximized. So I think if we were to meet with the CFO, that should be strictly about like the budget and what's under their scope. I don't want to have, Judy sitting around wondering about the IT when
Yeah.
that's my job.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So since you've heard a little bit more about our IT, I can even jump over to the budget really quickly, so we can just kind of get that rundown to see if that would be in the scope of your guys' budget for the next year. Typically, our pricing is incremental, so it starts out at $50,000, and then it jumps up each year as Gartner has more effect and more pull into your company. Essentially, you're purchasing the research optimization tools and the executive partner. I haven't really talked too much on the research and the executive partner. But essentially, the research is an unbiased platform that provides all of your research services. So you'll no longer have to be scouring the web, ultimately saving some time, energy, and effort for your team and you as well, if that would be something beneficial to you. And then additionally, moving on to the executive partner would be something that moreover would benefit you, since I know you were saying that you do work closely with your team, but it seems like they have been here for quite a while and they've seen that. And you said that they were pretty busy individuals. This executive partner would come in for an hour, at minimum a month, and kind of just chat with you, talk about how's it going and what your goals are for the future. Because I'm assuming that you guys over here at the American Group are continuing to expand. I see you guys have 137 speed locations. Are you guys looking to implement any more in the next year?
Definitely. We're always looking to get bigger and expand our operations.
Yeah, that's neat. I'm glad to hear it. I was just gonna say, and then additionally, so your license would start out at the 50,000, and then if you were to add a license, let's say for the CFO or the president, that would be an additional $15,000 upcharge per license available. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about us, and I can go ahead and schedule that meeting with the CFO and the president. I can go ahead and find a good time for you guys. Would you prefer if I schedule that meeting right now, or just maybe over email would be better?
I think over email would be better. I guess a question that I do have is, could you clarify what those licenses are exactly?
Yeah, so this is licensing to our product. Essentially, so you'll have the license, you'll pay it up front in the beginning of the year, and then you'll have our product, our usable product, for essentially the rest of the year. And then the additional licenses is for another person to be using our product, since it's similar to like a gym subscription or like a gym membership. It's for one person with that CIO pricing, and then an additional license you'd have to pay for another person at the American Group to use your guys' services. Yeah.
And then I'm just wondering, I'm, 50,000 is a hefty price. I'm wondering if you could tell me more about how I would be gaining from that and actually like earning more money back than the 50,000, because ultimately I do want it to increase my profits.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, our big push is for our cost optimization. And I know that you were saying that since you have such different entities, that contract review services might be super beneficial to you guys in the sense of our team's going to go in and kind of see points of service where you guys could mitigate costs, and essentially in turn these costs that you guys are saving through our services would in turn essentially pay for the service in itself. And then additionally, our big thing that we're pushing right now for the CIOs, for you more specifically, would be the executive partner. Just kind of having a sounding board and someone to hear out your ideas, that maybe a little bit more unbiased approach. Since you guys are in a family-owned business and they've seen all of the highs and lows in the past, 50 some odd years, that gets a little bit difficult when you kind of have someone newer like you coming into the show. So having that executive partner, that sounding board, that unbiased opinion might be super beneficial to you at the end of the day, just since you are with a company that does have a staff that has been around for a while. So I personally think that the Gartner for CIOs executive partner would be super beneficial to you, moreover.
Yeah, that does sound beneficial for sure.
Alrighty. Well, on behalf of Gartner, it was so nice to chat with you. I'll be sure to send up a follow-up email. It was super nice to meet you, Mr. Hammond, and I hope you guys continue to do great things in the next year.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you. I'll see you, email you back.